Monday Sidekick, the AI agent that knows you and your business, thinks ahead, and takes action. Ask it anything. Seriously. Monday Sidekick, AI you'll love to use. Start a free trial today on monday.com.
If your roof starts to leak or your floor's really squeak, you live in a money pit. Money pit.
If your basement needs a pump or your place looks like a dump, you live in a money pit. Money pit. Pick up the telephone.
Fix up your home sweet home by calling 888-MONEY-PIT.
The Money Pit is presented by Ladera by Pavestone and Quikrete. Now here's Leslie Segretti.
Coast to coast and floorboards to shingles, this is the Money Pit. I'm Leslie Segretti, and with me is my partner, Jim Kenzie, the #1 home improvement producer in the biz, and he keeps us rocking. Hey, Jim.
Hey, thanks, Leslie. Everything on my end seems to be okay. Are you dealing with anything interesting?
I'm groovy. I'm still dealing with this fall, autumn, end of summer allergy, congestion.
Well, on the bright side, it's going to snow soon.
Yes. Thank you for joining the ski bandwagon. It warms my cold, toasty heart. So thank you. Well, we are back in the full swing of things here at My Money Pit. School projects, college applications, soccer games. Let the craziness begin. So keeping everything grounded in our home base is what we are here to do. We are here to help you keep your money pit in top working order, no matter the craziness that you've got going on. We've got a great show for you this hour. So coming up, your deck and outdoor wood might have weathered a full summer of sun and rain and backyard barbecues, but now it's time to get them all ready for fall and winter. So coming up, we're going to share simple steps to inspect, clean, and seal those wood surfaces before the cold sets in. A little care now means a longer life for that deck, the stairs, the trim, and fewer headaches down the road. And are you looking for a weekend project that adds instant style and long-lasting function to your yard? Well, concrete landscape borders might be the answer. We're going to walk you through the step-by-step DIY using Quikrete products to pour your own decorative borders for flower beds, driveways, walkways, and more. It's easier than you think, and we'll show you how to make it pop with some custom color, texture, and polish. And do you want to wake up your garden with color and life next spring? Well, that secret is getting started now. So coming up, we're going to share what to plant in the fall, tulips, daffodils, all of that, and we'll share some tips to prep those beds for success. Spring may feel far away, but your dream garden starts today. So give us a call right now at 888-MONEY-PIT. Jim, who's first?
Oh, almost heaven, Leslie. West Virginia. That's where we've got Russ on the line who's dealing with some flickering lights. What's going on, Russ?
Well, I have a light fixture in my dining room, and it has 10 bulbs. Each one of the bulbs is an Edison-type bulb. I have it on. When I turn the hot water on, the light flickers.
Okay, so first of all, maybe your house is haunted. No, probably not, but maybe. But anywho, let's talk about the water heater. Is it an electric water heater?
Yes, it is.
All right. So when the electric heater comes on, it pulls a lot of current and it causes a voltage drop across the whole system of the house. And when that comes on, the amount of current going to those LED bulbs that are in your ceiling fixture with LED, when you get below a certain amount of voltage, it starts to do weird things like flicker. In fact, I very recently switched this all occurred when the air conditioning was out, and I had incandescent sort of candelabra bulbs in the light fixture in the dining room. When the previous air conditioner would come on, nothing would ever change. But because the house was 8 million zillion degrees during that 2-week heat wave with no AC, I switched every light bulb in the house to LED because I was like, anything, turn the lights off, switch to LED. So I got the LED candelabra bulbs that were dimmable, popped those in the fixture. New AC comes in, turns it on. Every time that condensing unit kicks on outside, the dining room lights flicker. Never happened before. So I'm like, I know it's not an electrical thing. I just had everybody look. But basically what's happening is it's just
Current draw, yeah.
they just don't like it. They're kind of, even though they're awesome and they're energy efficient, they're kind of finicky.
And early on, they were really touchy. If you're just a
Yeah.
little low voltage, they'd start flickering and doing weird stuff. And you really didn't, you had dimmable.
But they really weren't dimmable. I feel like that was like a bunch of BS.
Yeah, you can dim it in 2 stages, on and off.
Yeah. Even like I have a dimmable one in the bathroom upstairs. And if the dimmer isn't quite in a position that bulb likes, and it's just one of the 4 bulbs in there, that bulb's like, nah, I'm going to flicker.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, you can only be here or here, whereas your buddies don't care. So LED bulbs, awesome, great choice. They're just temperamental. So that's what's going on there.
Can't we all just get along?
All right. Good luck with that. Everything's groovy. So that's just what's going on.
All right, Cindy's close to me, evidently. Leslie, she's here in Ohio. She's on the line with a question about cedar shingles. How can we help out, Cindy?
I live in a raised ranch home, and I have cedar shingle siding on the front of my home, and the shingles themselves are in good shape. They were previously stained, and I'm wondering, now that they're fading, if there's any way I could paint them or do something different to them other than staining them.
Well, Cindy, with a cedar siding shingle, once you paint it, you're
Wait,
kind
say
of...
that 3 more times, Leslie.
No, I said it once, and I did it well, and now I'm going to mess it up. Cedar siding shingle. Did it again.
Bam.
So, Cindy, with these cedar shingles, generally when you paint them, that's it. You're kind of painting them forever as it's finished because the stain saturates the wood. It sits on the surface as well a little bit. That's how the color gets in there. And you can kind of restain, change tones of stain over time. But with paint, it's going to saturate in and sit on top. And then you're going to have to put several coats once it's sort of reached its absorption there. And the paint is really sitting on there and looking nice and thorough and even. But what's going to happen is that paint's going to eventually need to be repainted or chip off, and you're going to have to really do a heck of a lot of work to get all of that paint off if you ever want to stain again. Mm-hmm. So if it's the fact that you're like, I hate the light color or the natural look, and I just want a bit of more color, why not, instead of doing a semi-transparent or a transparent stain that just kind of gives you the natural look of the wood, you could go with a solid color stain, and that will give you the saturation of the color into the shingle itself while still seeing that wood. So it's kind of dependent on how you want that finished color to look and what that upkeep over time is that you want to invest in the siding.
Leslie, because you can always stain darker each time, right? You
Yeah.
can start in the light to mid-range, and then a few years down the road stain. You can't go the other direction, obviously, but...
Correct. But paint is like once you're painting, you're doing it.
Yeah, you're always painting.
So the solid color stain is great and comes in so many colors. So you can really try something. If you have like an extra shingle that's been sitting outside, or there's a place you can take a shingle off, or something behind a bush that no one's going to see.
Neighbor's house you can steal one from.
I would say try it out. Try paint, try the solid stain, see what you feel, see what the process is. And then you can make a good decision about what that look is that you want, and then commit to the process, because it's going to be a lot of work, but it's a great project to do on your own. And taking care of the exterior of the house is wonderful and will make a huge difference.
Cindy, thanks so much for reaching out to the Money Pit for your situation. We're happy to help out. If you have questions with your home, give us a buzz 24/7 at 888-MONEY-PIT. That's 888-MONEY-PIT.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Hey, are you a fan of our podcast? Well, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and we'll be doing a happy dance. Plus, it helps us keep the show going and growing. Just go to moneypit.com/review. Hey, are you ready to roll up your sleeves and look good while doing it? Well, we have teamed up with our friends at Quikrete and Pavestone to give one lucky Money Pit listener a $50 gift card not for tools or materials this time, but for some seriously cool Quikrete merch. That's right. You can head to the Quikrete online merch store and pick out your favorite branded gear, whether it's a fleece vest, a durable work shirt, a hoodie, or a hat. You'll be geared up in style while taking on your next DIY project. Quikrete is known for helping homeowners get the job done right, and now you can do it looking like part of the crew. One winner is going to score the ultimate mix of function and fashion, all thanks to the team that brings you the products the pros trust. Quikrete. It's what America's made of, and now what your next workday outfit might be made of too. So give us a call for your chance to win. Jim, who's up next?
All right, Leslie, in Louisiana, we've got Patrilla. She's working on a kitchen flooring project. Please fill us in a little bit, Patrilla.
I have sheet linoleum in my kitchen, and I want to know if I can put the square tile linoleum down over that or any other kind of flooring over it without having to take up the linoleum.
Yeah, Patrilla, the good thing about the flooring that's out there today is that that sheet vinyl or linoleum floor that's already existing is kind of like a great base to put these new products on top of, as long as everything is in good shape. A lot of them are floating and they can go on top of that existing level floor. You can have an engineered vinyl plank, which you may see as EVP. They install beautifully. They can look like a variety of wood tones and wood finishes and plank sizes. And there's so many different ways for you to achieve a durable, easy to install floor that's not going to break your budget. And I think it's just a matter of finding a local source so you're not shipping something, a home center, and kind of looking at what options are out there that are in your price point. Now, with those floorings, they kind of lock together. You'll snap these boards together and they will just sit right on top of the existing flooring. You may have a little bit of an underlayment that they would recommend. Sometimes it's a thin foam. Sometimes it's like a thin paper. Sometimes it's right on the back of each of those vinyl planks. So it depends, and it kind of floats between your baseboard. So you may see like a little gap all around the room, but that's very easily fixed with some quarter round or shoe molding.
And that's just kind of, if you're a bachelor.
No, backer rod. No. The quarter round or the shoe molding, also super easy to install.
Yeah.
A couple of simple tools will help you put that up. You can use a hammer and nail. You can use a nail gun. Depends on what you have available to you. And that will cover that little floating gap around the edge. These are great products to get. They're wonderful projects for you to achieve. It's not a terrifically difficult project as well. And most of them don't need to be glued down. They don't need to be glued together. They don't need to be tacked together. So definitely take a look and feel what you are comfortable with as a DIYer. And if you're not DIYing this, we can talk about a whole other bunch of options too. Thanks so much for reaching out to the Money Pit.
Says the gal who's got a really cool arrow nailer. Huh.
I do.
I'm so jealous of you, Leslie.
I use it a lot. I mean, and mine's little. I have a little pancake compressor, which means it's teeny tiny. Mm-hmm. And I have a brad nailer, which, takes the brad nails and also the staples. So I can do a variety of things, but I tend to do mine for more like crafting or upholstery or molding or finishing or smaller stuff. That said, I could build you a piece of furniture, but it's a great little tool to have in your arsenal for projects just like this. And it's not terrifically expensive. Well, fall brings cooler temps, crisp air, and the perfect opportunity to protect your home's wood surfaces before winter rolls in. Whether it's your deck, railings, stairs, fences, or trim, moisture and cold can wreak havoc on all that exposed wood. Taking the time now for a little TLC can save you money and a lot of work come springtime. So first, you want to start with an inspection. Take a slow stroll, walk around your home, and look for faded stain or peeling paint, splitting, cracking, or soft spots, loose railings, spongy deck boards. You can use a screwdriver or an awl to gently probe suspect areas. If that wood feels soft or crumbly or that tool goes right in, it's got a problem. That means it's absorbing moisture and it's your cue to act. Now, you want to clean the surfaces before you apply anything. So you want to make sure you use a deck cleaner or a mix of water and oxygenated bleach or just bleach to lift that grime, the algae, and the mildew. And a pressure washer will work well. You just have to modify how much pressure you're applying so you don't damage any wood that is on the softer side. Now, once that surface is clean and dry, it's time to seal the deal. You want to use a water repellent sealer if you want to keep that natural look. You can opt for a semi-transparent or a solid stain because you want to add that UV protection and some color possibly. And oil-based stains will typically last longer, but water-based ones dry faster and they're easier to clean up. So choice on you there, but one's going to be more durable. And timing is everything here. You want to aim for a stretch of dry weather. Avoid applying the sealer if rain is expected within 24 to 48 hours. And ideally, that temperature should be between 50 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit for good absorption. And don't forget about the details here. It's not just about the deck. Check your porch stairs, the railings, the wood trim around doors and windows, fence posts, gates. Protecting those smaller areas are going to keep your home looking polished, and it will prevent rot in those often overlooked spots. Now, if you've got a loose board, now is the time to refasten or replace it. Split railings, worn balusters, sand and seal those areas to stop water from creeping in and freezing later. If you seal up those wood surfaces now, you will protect your home's curb appeal, prevent costly damage, and keep your outdoor spaces safer and stronger no matter what winter brings. All right, let's see who's standing by on the phone. Well, maybe they're sitting by. Who knows? Jim, who's up next?
All right, we've got Hope standing by, and she's in a super great mood about this project. What's going on?
The project is putting up a fence for our dogs in a pretty large area at the back of the house that borders a creek. It's a very high creek bank. Water rarely comes into the yard or anything, but just concerned about moisture and what the ground might be like underneath, and if that should affect the material that we use for the fence.
What kind of fencing material are you leaning towards?
As opposed to leaning fence material.
I think that's what she's trying to avoid, Jim.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
All right, Hope. So what are you looking at?
Well, we've looked at everything from like rolls of welded wire on posts or some sort of black wrought iron low fencing, something like 3 feet.
All right. Well, regardless of the fence material, when it comes to the post, we're not talking about a wood fence post, correct? Because if you're thinking about wood fencing, or maybe you're just even avoiding wood fencing because you're afraid of the water.
I've definitely thought of wood as well.
Okay,
it won't ruin our view.
Oh, yeah, I get it. I mean, you definitely have this beautiful creek view. You don't want to ruin it. So if you want something that's kind of close to invisible, a black fence really is the way you want to go. I see black fencing around pool areas a lot because even though they're there for safety, they just kind of blend into the surroundings a little bit more and do kind of go away from the eye, if you will, and you're not really looking at it. But, you know, you're going to spend all that money on a fence and you want to make sure that it sort of blends into the background. So look for one that has a good pattern to it or something that's pleasing to you, but also doesn't interfere with the view of the creek. Now, in terms of moisture, I don't think you really have to be concerned about anything. If you were working with a wood fence and a wood post, then that would be an issue. And we'd say don't use concrete, use stone aggregate. But because you're using a solid post with it, concrete's going to work well. It drains very well. It's really locked in place well. But as far as the metal posts go, my only concern here is that you check with the manufacturer's sort of directions and recommendations, because sometimes and rarely you see a reaction between the concrete and the metal. But you want to just make sure that that post you're selecting doesn't have an issue. And so Hope, if you do go with a metal post and you decide to set it with concrete, definitely use Quikrete in the red bag, because that's the one you don't have to mix. So you dig your post hole and you want to go a third of depth, a third depth to the length of the post. So if the post is 6 feet, you dig down 2 feet, if that makes sense. And then you just literally pour that concrete into that hole with the post, and you kind of make sure it's level with some supports, and then add water right to it. You don't mix, you don't do anything.
Well, thank you so much, and I listen to you every single week. I've learned so much from you guys.
Oh, you're so welcome, Hope. Thank you so much for giving us a call at 888-MONEY-PIT. Good luck with that new house and with the puppers.
Thank you.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just
Speaking into the void.
But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
Well, if you're looking to add some curb appeal, tame the edges of a garden, or give your yard a fresh, clean finish, concrete landscape borders are one project that really packs a punch. They're decorative, they're functional, and with the right products, a weekend's worth of work that will last for years. Now, Quikrete has a step-by-step approach that makes this DIY totally doable, even for first-timers. You can create borders for flower beds, tree surrounds, driveways, or walkways, and you can shape them to follow any curve or contour in your yard. And here's how you do it. First of all, you're going to need some basic tools like a shovel, trowel, hammer, saw, drill, and a wood float, plus plywood or flexible hardboard to create those border forms, and some 1-inch by 1-inch stakes and spacers to kind of hold everything in place. You'll also need Quikrete crack-resistant concrete, which is reinforced with fibers, so that new border will stand up to wear and tear. And if you want to make it pop, you can add Quikrete liquid cement color. It comes in red, brown, buff, charcoal, and terracotta, and just one bottle will color up to 2 80-pound bags of the mix and give your border a totally custom polished look. Now, here are the steps. You want to start by using a garden hose or rope to kind of figure out the layout. What's the curve? What's the shape of that border? And then mark it and dig it out about 8 inches wide and 4 inches deep of a trench there, and compact that soil for a solid base. Now, you want to build the forms. So hammer in stakes along the edge about every 18 inches, then attach that flexible plywood or hardboard to shape that curve. And you can use spacers at the base to keep that width consistent. 5 inches is going to be perfect. Now you want to mix the Quikrete to a firm, workable consistency and pour it into that form you just made. And a margin trowel will help you spread and consolidate the concrete smoothly. Now, once that bleed water evaporates, and you'll see it float to the top, you want to cut in control joints about every 3 feet to prevent cracking, and run a concrete edging tool along the sides for a clean, rounded finish. After that surface has set, you can apply Quikrete acrylic concrete cure and seal, and that will help protect the concrete, enhance the color, and extend that durability. Now, you do need to let it cure for 3 to 5 days before you remove that form and backfill with sod or mulch. And this project is perfect for this time of year because fall's cooler weather is ideal for working with concrete. And once you've got this border in place, you'll have less edging to do come springtime, you'll have better defined garden beds, and a serious boost in your outdoor style. Now, you can find everything you need, including a step-by-step video of this exact project at Quikrete.com. It's a great project for a weekend. I love it when you can see that finished creation in such a short period of time. It's really satisfying. So let's see what you all have planned at your money pit. Jim, who's up next?
Leslie, we've got Ricky who's got a garden, but some pests don't want Ricky to have that nice garden. What's going on, Ricky?
Something is attacking two particular things in front of my house. I have a lilac bush and I have a crabapple tree that are kind of under attack. They're really like decaying. I spray them with like an antifungal, anti-parasitic bug mix, and they seem to do better. But when I stop spraying them, they just get worse and worse and worse. And I spray them like every week.
Yeah, Ricky, all across the country you're going to find that there are gardens and there are pests, whether they are animals or bugs that just love to eat that garden. So I think what you need to do is find the right product to treat what you're trying to stay away. And in your case, what you used seems like a fungicide, which would be for antifungal rather than sort of a repellent that makes those pests or those bugs go away. So I kind of think you need to find the right product. You can find some over-the-counter ones. I say that because not that it's a prescription, but stuff you can buy versus what the pros are getting. And they're sort of a ready-to-mix product where you kind of spray it out of a bottle. You get it as a concentrate. You mix it up in a pump-style sprayer. Some you can find as pellets or granules that you mix up or that you kind of sprinkle around the perimeter of this tree to keep those pests away. But I think what you need to do is figure out what this pest is. And maybe there's something that you can bring in if it's eating a leaf, or if you see the damage on a bark and you can bring it to a local garden center and the person might say, oh, that's a warbliblo or whatever it is. And they want to get
obviously
this. Durr. In your neck of the woods, it's a blurbity derp, but they might have a better clue as to what that specific pest is that's destroying this tree. And then they can help you find the right repellent. That said, I know crabapple, I know lilacs, they're very beautiful and they're very special. If you're finding that you're having trouble with this, maybe you want to find something that's better for your area of the country and that's more resistant to pests or animals. Generally, I find that green giant arborvitaes, nobody seems to like them, and they grow and grow and grow and grow. So you never know. But definitely try to do some research to see what exactly it is that's getting at these trees, and then we can figure out the best way to help protect them. And it might just be one time bringing in a pro who explains to you, this is what's going on. And then after a short service and getting things back together, you can then self-treat. It's just a couple of different ways you could go about it. But I hope you save those lilacs and that crabapple because those are beautiful trees for a yard. All right, good luck with that. Are you guys ready to roll up your sleeves and look good while doing it? Well, we have teamed up with our friends at Quikrete and Pavestone to give one lucky Money Pit listener a $50 gift card. But not for tools or materials. We're talking about some seriously cool Quikrete merch. That's right. You can head to the Quikrete online merch store and pick out a really cool fleece vest or a durable work shirt or a hoodie or a hat. You will be geared up in style while taking on your next DIY project. And Quikrete is known for helping homeowners get the job done right. And now you can look like part of the crew. One winner is getting the ultimate mix of function and fashion, all thanks to the team that brings you the products pros trust. Quikrete, it's what America is made of, and now what your next workday outfit might be made of too. So give us a call for your chance to win. Well, when it comes to gardening, timing is everything. And one of the best kept secrets to a gorgeous spring display is getting a little dirty right now in the fall. That's right. Late summer and early fall is the ideal time to plant those spring blooming bulbs. Why? Because the bulbs need a chilly dormant period to trigger blooming. So let's walk through what you should be planting now and how to set your garden up for success. So what you want for those spring blooms that will do great are daffodils. They're bright, they're cheerful, they're super low maintenance, and they're deer resistant. Tulips, classic spring stunner. You can choose different bloom times and colors that will last for weeks. Hyacinths, they're known for their fragrance and they're great in beds and great in containers. Crocuses, these are always like the earliest that bloom, and they'll pop up sometimes while there is still snow on the ground, and they're like a purple and a light purple and a blue. So cute. Alliums, they're tall. They look like those little purple pom-poms. They're great for adding drama to the garden. Now, you want to get those bulbs in the ground about 6 weeks before that first hard frost, which, depending on your region, could be right now. Now, how do you prep that garden bed? First of all, you want to pick the right spot. Most spring bulbs love full sun. So even if that garden spot seems shady now, remember those trees are not going to have leaves in early spring. Check the drainage. Bulbs can rot in soggy soil. If your spot tends to hold water, work in some compost or sand to kind of help loosen it up. You want to plant in groups, not rows, for a natural sweeping look. Dig a hole big enough for a handful of bulbs. You want to plant them pointy side up, about 2 to 3 times as deep as that bulb's height, and then feed the soil. Mix in bulb fertilizer or bone meal before planting. It helps with root development over the winter. And then mulch. After you plant, cover that bed with a layer of mulch to help insulate the soil and prevent those weeds. Now, fall is also the perfect time to divide and replant any perennials like daylilies, hostas, irises. It will give them time to establish roots before the ground freezes. So come spring, your garden will explode with color, and all you'll have to do is sort of sit back and enjoy the show. That little effort now will bring months of joy later. So grab the gloves, pick your favorite bulbs, and plant a little spring magic this weekend. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled fall season. Pumpkin spice lattes. No, I'm kidding.
Ford Blue Cruise hands-free highway driving takes the work out of being behind the wheel, allowing you to relax and reconnect, while also staying in control. Enjoy the drive in Blue Cruise-enabled vehicles like the F-150, Explorer, and Mustang Mach-E. Available feature on equipped vehicles. Terms apply. Does not replace safe driving. See Ford.com/BlueCruise for more details.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
Jim, who's standing by next?
All right, Leslie, we've got James in Mississippi on the line, and he has a question about cutting a hole in the deck and putting a pool in. Didn't you do something like
that? We did that on an episode of While You Were Out, and that did not go well. All right, James, tell me what's going on here.
My wife wants me to cut a hole out of our deck and put one of these inflated pools in there. It's an 8-foot pool and stands about, 2-3 feet tall, and the land's on a slope. I'm just trying to figure out how to get it to where to sit and not get damaged.
I mean, listen, if you guys are like, hey, I want to put a hole in my deck and put this pool in, I'm going to say, great. But if somebody else says, hey, you know what I think James and his wife would like? We should cut a hole in their deck and put a pool in. I now know to say no to that designer and really discourage that process. But you guys are all on board. So hooray. And I think COVID kind of made above ground pools, not that they were out of favor, but it kind of made above ground pools hip again, if you will. And a lot of people are building decks around these above ground pools. So they feel like they're really part of the design and part of the backyard in a way that's just not standalone as an above ground pool can and could be in some instances. But you have a deck that's already there, so you want to make sure that this deck is not going to have framing issues with the structure as you cut it open to put that pool in. So, and remember, this is a commitment. We're not going to then build a pool-shaped plug for your deck like afterward. Like this is building a new deck at the end of this whole process if you decide this was a terrible idea. Also, think about placement. I know you say that there's a slope on the ground where this would be. Make sure that the pool is going in a way where we can address the grading so that you are ending up with flat surface below for that pool to go on. Also make sure that you're giving yourself enough usable space on the deck for seating or lounge chairs or dining or whatever else you want to do. So what I would do is, cut into that deck, make sure that you are adjusting the supports below to keep that structure intact and weight-bearing and durable, that kind of stuff. And that should really do the trick. And of course, with an above-ground pool, you'll then have to rebuild it inside that hole that you've sort of cut out. But I think it's a great project. Just be structural in it. Make sure the framing is correct to continue to support that weight. You may need to put another sort of post into the ground to sort of support it from below if you're removing something. But I think it's going to be a case-by-case situation where you're going to kind of want to replace what you've removed just on the perimeter of that pool. And I think it's going to be awesome.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but it's going to be awesome. Mm-hmm. And they want to do it. That's the difference.
Well, there you have it. Have them sign something to that effect.
My wife asked me to do this, and she's not going to be mad at me after. Oh, she probably will, but you've agreed to do it.
Tough it out.
Well, we don't very often get to dive into the email inbox, so we love to take this time to do so. So, Jim, who do we have at the top of our inbox? Although sometimes we should go to the bottom. So pick a good one.
Mix it up a little bit. We've got David, who says, I purchased my home 2 years ago, and the home inspection came back just fine. Now the walls are cracking. The nails are popping out of the drywall. What's going on?
Normal house movement. I mean, I'm going to suspect it's normal. A lot of people find it troubling because they presume incorrectly that these drywall cracks and the nail pops are some sort of like major structural problem. But the fact of the matter here is that homes expand and contract all the time. And David, this movement is very, very normal. If you are concerned, if the cracks are enormous or wide or constantly changing, then hire a structural engineer to come and review it. But if it's just your run-of-the-mill little crack, if they're by a door, if they're by a window, if the nail pops are sort of just in a line, I don't think you need to. Now, you could contact the home inspector and say, hey, can you come on back and take a look because I have these concerns? But I feel pretty confident that these are just normal movement in a house. So what you have to do here, if you've got a nail pop, that's a super easy fix. You just put another nail next to it and overlap those heads. So when you drive in the new nail, it will pull the old one back into the wood. I mean, generally it's just that stud drying out and it's kind of pushing that nail back out through the drywall. So you want to kind of cover it back in with the other one and then spackle over it and you're good to go. Small cracks around the doorways, windows, you can fill it with joint compound, nice thin layers, feather it out around the edge, sand, and touch up the paint. Not a terrible issue here. So if you do feel in your gut that this just isn't right, contact the inspector, contact an engineer. But for the most part, these are just cosmetic from normal movement of the house. All right, David, good luck with that. Trust me, you're going to see a lot more of these over time in the house.
All right, Leslie, now we have Bill, and he writes in saying, I have a disappearing attic stairway that sags, so there's air coming in our house from the attic and vice versa. What can I do to minimize this? It's really doing a number on my utility bills.
I love that he calls it a disappearing attic stairway.
Yeah.
It's disappearing. I mean, they do sort of fold back onto themselves or slide into themselves. So in a way, yes, disappearing. And if you have one that's old, when you're saying it's sagging, that makes me feel like it's an older one. Maybe the closure as that piece sort of goes back into your ceiling is not sealed correctly. So you're getting a lot of draft here. You may just need to add weather stripping to the bottom of the door you already have. I mean, that's critical, but you may need to replace it with that sagging, with that air leakage. It could just be time. Check out a company called Rainbow Attic Stair. It folds up. They have a very strong closure, kind of like a storm door closure, and it basically holds that bottom really tight. Plus it's a metal stair, so it's super strong. You do want to feel a big difference from the conditioned space you're in to the attic space. It should be cold in the winter, hot in the summer. So take a look at those and maybe it's time for a new one. Well, that's a wrap for this hour of the Money Pit. We started with smart seasonal wood care, sealing decks and trim now to protect them through the winter season. Then we rolled into a great DIY pouring concrete landscape borders project with Quikrete crack-resistant concrete and liquid cement color, a great fun way to add curb appeal fast. And finally, we dug into fall planting tips for spring blooms, daffodils, tulips, and more. The secret here is getting in the ground now for a beautiful spring surprise. We've loved having you here with the Money Pit with us this hour. Remember, more to come, so stick around. And remember, guys, you can do it yourself, but you don't have to do it alone.
On the Money Pit Radio Show. On the Money Pit Radio Show. Pick up the telephone, fix up your home sweet home by calling 888-MONEY-PIT. Woo!
Doug. Limu and I always tell you to customize your car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. But now, we want you to feel it. Cue the emu music, Limu.
Save yourself money today. Increase your wealth. Customize and save, we say.
That may have been too much feeling.
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.